The voice of Husker Nation is on the air. This is Hail Varsity Radio. Insight, opinion, expertise, along with the biggest names talking Nebraska sports. Join in with the show at 402-489-1240 or 1-800-825-5865. Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Welcome to it, Road Show, Hail Varsity. We're powered by Cornhead Lager on the road today as we get the madness underway. Here in Gretna at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, you are invited out. Maybe some of you couldn't pull off the fake cough, the Ferris Bueller fever, maybe waited on the vasectomy, whatever the case that has delayed you to watch the madness. Get on out here. We're in Gretna, just off 204th Avenue. You walk in, you smell the aroma of incredible pizza. Elijah Herbel is hammering a plate full of fries.
Don't expose me like
but
that.
Just to note, he did offer to share. He didn't get any Bang Bang sauce with it, though, which is a cardinal sin. And Connor Clark is chained back at our studio. But we are thinking of you, Connor.
Well, we left him the shooting machine.
Yeah, the
we got a
Papa shot that Iowa State fans made famous back in the day. Iowa State fans at the old Kemper Arena, that's where the Big 8 tournament was. You'd descend on, and as Dad and your uncle would go hammer Bud Heavies all day for $3.50, they had Papa shots you could play for $1. And it was glorious. So even if your team got eliminated early, i.e. the 92 Huskers, you could still play Papa Shot all day, shake mom and dad down for $1, and Dad and Uncle Dino could get after it with the Bud Heavy. And it was a good time. Great times right now. Big win for Duquesne as they knock off BYU. Illinois is in a bit of a dogfight. Oregon at halftime right now against South Carolina. If you're wondering, North Carolina covered by 30, and we're about 24 hours away, fellas, from Nebraska and their chance to make history. Numbers to get in, 489-1240, 800-825-5865. Can join us. We'll get the shout-outs here shortly in the stream, our starting five, and can find the show different ways to do it. We want to see you in person here in Gretna, though, at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Stop on by between 4 and 6. Come say what's up to us. Big thanks to Lucian for hooking us up and making things happen here. And if you get the night sessions going, that's okay. Get a pie to go. Get a pie to stay. Also wings and all sorts of goodness on the menu. So we have boots on the ground in Memphis and in Pittsburgh. We'll tell you about on the show today. We'll check in with Brandon Vogel from Counter Reed and see his take on Nebraska as Michigan State made Mama and Junior happy. They won against Mississippi State earlier today. In hour two, we'll check in Memphis with part of the Husker broadcast team, Jake Muhleisen, color analyst. Him and KP are gearing up for victory tomorrow, so they'll be locked and loaded. They're already locked in. But Jake Muhleisen with us live from Memphis. And then Danny Burke, Burke's Best Bets. He'll have some thoughts for us when it comes to who you maybe want to circle and pick, and maybe take some of Danny's advice and find us at Ameristar tomorrow, Ameristar Casino. We're broadcasting live 4 to 6 just across the river. It's kind of the capital of hoops, though, today in Omaha, man, with all those sessions. The nightcap's going to be Washington State, which is really cool. You've got Drake in town. You have, of course, Iowa State is here, and then South Dakota State. So pretty awesome setting for Omaha. But love this time of year. Quick shout-outs, and then I'll shut up. We got to say hi to Jeff. Jeff in the stream, bright and early. Moonbot7 checks in his customary howdy nerds. Patrick in the stream. NASCAR Eric is going to soup up his hot rod and get to Memphis to represent the Big Red tomorrow. Tim is in. Matthew says, what's up? Lance says, hi. Justin, Chuck, and then Savage McQueen in from Wyoming. Crew, are you drinking Corona yet? And crew wants a lock from Danny a little bit later. Dion, what's up, Dion? Good to say hi to Dion, and we'll get to more of your comments. KG wants us to start the show. Okay, we'll start the show. So let's talk about Cinderella. Could Nebraska be that team? So many Nebraska fans are hoping so. Creighton, an impressive win. Guys, who's your Cinderella memory? I mean, who's that team that either made you look like a genius in your bracket or you just loved following as a kid, as an adult, somebody you latched on to? Because this is the time for Cinderella to emerge. My first memory, just because I'm old, is the alley-oop down in the pit in New Mexico when they beat Houston. I was 5 years old. Remember watching that. Remember the Seton Hall, Michigan game with Ramil Robinson. Those two teams really weren't Cinderellas. NC State was with Jimmy V. But I'm going to circle a team that took down the defending national champs at a 149-point clip. That was Loyola Marymount from 1990 with Bo Kimball. They were playing teammate Hank Gathers. I always smile when I think of Loyola Marymount and Paul Westphal and their offense. Not much defense, but they were kind of a party. They were fun to watch. Not that long ago, the Peacocks made the run as a 15 seed. St. Peter's was good. I don't know. It'd be cool to see Nebraska become that team, but we're getting greedy 24 hours out.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking Cinderellas, well, crew chimes in. We were talking a little bit on the way up here to Gretna. The George Mason team is like the earliest one. It was just before my time.
Larinaga.
I hadn't really been into March Madness up until that point. Kind of got me on. But then after that, how about Dunk City, the Florida Gulf Coast?
They were stole
awesome.
My answer.
2012. That
they were
team
a 14
awesome.
seed, weren't they?
And
15.
they made it all the way to the Sweet
15.
16.
Okay.
Did they make it to the Elite Eight or the Sweet 16, Connor?
I want to say the Sweet 16.
Sweet 16.
I want to say they got bounced in a close game in the Elite Eight.
They
and
did.
Then who could forget
16,
them coming to Lincoln the next year and Nebraska beats them and everyone anoints that Husker team? Well, they just beat Dunk City, who returned 4 or 5 starters or whatever it was. Turns out the magic did not last into the next season for Florida Gulf Coast.
They had Sherwood, that dude Sherwood Blunt.
They were
Can
awesome.
you believe that was
that team
was
was
2012,
awesome.
I think?
Yes.
That was over 10 years ago now, which is just crazy to think about. But yeah, Florida Gulf Coast was like the ultimate Cinderella team to me, just because they didn't eke games out. They won those games in style. Like with the alley-oops and the dunks. I mean,
it was a
fantastic
passing
team to
route
watch.
tree, fellas,
Yes.
where
Great.
out of nowhere someone sprints in from the baseline for an alley-oop. They did open PBA the following year, which was great. And you know who was doing play-by-play for him?
No.
The Iron Horse.
No way.
Really?
Yeah, he was Florida Gulf Coast's play-by-play man, Mr. Sharpie.
What?
Yeah, he was down in Florida.
Wow.
So
The more
yeah,
you know.
that was cool. So yeah, feel good time of year though, right? We're on the road. We're here at Hurrdat Sports in Gretna, and you have halftime upon us right now with this Oregon and South Carolina state game. What are you guys expecting this tournament? Are you expecting the upsets, the madness, total chaos? Are you thinking chalk? Are you thinking a little mixture of both? There's got to be one surprise, doesn't there? And just from an aesthetics standpoint, you want to see high scoring, but I think we all know deep down defense wins it. You don't want to see any Virginia type performances. While wins are the most important thing, you're looking for a sharp object to stab your neck with.
Well, I thought maybe the first big upset we'd see this tournament was going to be Morehead State. And they also had a good Cinderella run of their own. I think they also got bounced in the Sweet 16 about 10 years ago. That's the team that had the Manimal Kenneth Farid on it.
West Virginia's team, Pitt Snoggle. Remember that guy?
There's so many good Cinderella
Tattoos and mayonnaise sandwiches.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like it feels like
Beeline's team.
every single year there's like the NCAA tournament going on. You want at least one team that is seeded 12 or below to make a run to the Sweet 16. And Morehead State put together a great 30 minutes of basketball against Illinois. Illinois is starting to pull away now as we speak. 8 minutes left to go in the second half. They have a 16-point lead, so I don't think it's going to be them. I don't think you can call Nebraska a Cinderella should they go beat Houston after they beat Texas A&M. That's a lot of ifs. That's a long ways off.
That gets into Cinderella category. If you're an 8 seed and you take down a 1.
And you've never, ever won a game
ever. Yeah, that's a lingering memory, fellas.
I feel like to be a Cinderella, you got to be like at least a
double digit.
At least like I was going to say an 11 seed, even some 10 seeds. Like I struggle to call a Cinderella because I mean, most of the teams that are 10 seed and above are power conference teams. And I struggle to call any team from a power conference a Cinderella team. But I feel like teams that I'm still watching for now that Morehead State's out, Colgate is a potential Cinderella team that I watch for. They take on Baylor.
My bracket
who am I missing,
over
Connor?
If Colgate wins.
Hey,
who
Colgate,
else?
just to let you know, they don't give up a lot of 3-pointers, and the ones that they do, I think the opponents are shooting a 30% clip. It should be noted that's in the Patriot League, but now they run up against Baylor, who shoots almost 40% from behind the arc on the year. So it's unstoppable force versus immovable object a little bit there. Who's going to come out on top?
Yeah, that's
go ahead, bud.
That's an interesting game. Another kind of Cinderella run. There we go. Is to me probably, I mean, FGCU was up there. I remember a lot of that VCU run with Shaka Smart when he first burst onto the scene. That was fun. But as far as teams I'm looking out for, I mean, at one point when I first filled out my bracket, I had all 4 11 seeds winning. I have since changed that. But it's really tough to tell. I know James Madison is a popular pick against Wisconsin. They could certainly make some noise. Morehead State looked like it a little bit there, as Elijah mentioned, as Illinois is starting to pull away. There's just so much going on today. I need to sit down and look at a bracket and be like, oh, yeah, I remember picking them. They're going to win a couple of games. GCU is another popular 12 pick as well. So who knows as the days develop.
All I know is the fact that we've made it this far and Duquesne being the biggest upset. We've made it to, if you're listening in podcast form, it's 4:17 on Thursday afternoon here.
And Elijah's got his crystal ball.
And but the fact that we haven't seen any sort of real significant upset to this point is almost a little bit abnormal. Like the fact that it's March Madness at this point, usually brackets are busted within the first 2 hours of these games being played. By 2:00, half the brackets in America are busted or whatever it is. Hasn't been that type of tournament just yet, with Duquesne being the only one so far. But the drama is still yet to come. Still a lot of games upcoming tonight. There's so much drama that can happen between now and Nebraska-Texas A&M tipping off tomorrow night.
We're not even halfway through the day.
No, not even close.
What conference do you think goes out with a whimper? I mean, you have 2 candidates for sure with the SEC and the Big 12. You had BYU get taken down by an 11 seed. You had Mississippi State in an 8-9 matchup against Sparty. Do you think the Big 10, as air quote down as it is this year, puts a real run together? And, full disclosure, I've got Illinois and Purdue in the Final Four. I like Illinois' ability to get to the rim and, depending on the officiating, get to the line. Purdue, I think, is got blood, that taste of blood from last year's embarrassment. So I think that could be advantageous. The Big Ten is just bigger and stronger than a lot of leagues. And you just don't know how some of these squads are going to fare, i.e. the SEC, as good as they are, as many teams as they're loaded with, are they going to be a league that's built to march? Yeah, you think so with Kentucky, fellas, because that's a popular pick.
Score a billion points a game.
Yeah, same with Alabama. I mean, I think, and Auburn. I mean, I think those are 3 teams. And I love Tennessee. I mean, I think Tennessee could really put an impressive march together. Much.
Oh, you're dropping out, guys. There you go. Now you're back.
Okay, now we're good. Cool. Now we're good. Elijah just yanked on the cord there. The old shot clock for me.
We're not makeshift at all.
No. Get back to work. We're yelling at a hamster in the corner on a wheel.
We juiced him up with a little bit of steroids before this going.
He's got a McGuire
bang
jersey
sauce.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's all it takes.
It is good. Come here for the bang bang sauce. Stay for the pizza, the cold beer, the drinks. The bar is full. The TVs are on. and it is glorious. So I want you to make sure you follow our friends at Hurrdat Sports, Anna Bellinghausen, Jacob Padilla. They are in Pittsburgh covering Creighton. Big win for the Jays earlier. Kalkbrenner, big-time efficiency for him. Creighton got hot from 3, 9 of 12 after a slower start. They're big-time. Sauter and David Schumacher there in Memphis. And, of course, Sasha and the crew down at CHI for the but plenty of basketball thoughts. We'll get Brandon Vogel's take on the new AD. We'll hear from the new AD coming up here on Hail Varsity. Troy Dannon, his comments from Memphis as he got to meet a little bit of the media. Brandon Vogel, though, will, I'm sure, have his favorite Cinderella of many Cinderellas over the years when it comes to March Madness. Can always join us here in the stream, Hail Varsity YouTube. Like and subscribe. Also, give us a follow on the Hail Varsity Radio Twitter at HVarsity Radio. Other platforms to check the show out via video, the KFOR Facebook and Twitter, and AM 590 Omaha's ESPN. Follow, watch the show that way on Twitter as well. We're down in Gretna, just off 204th Avenue, as the Oregon Duck mascot is doing something obscene, possibly.
I don't think so.
No? He's just being the duck?
Typically, mascots aren't allowed to do anything obscene.
You haven't seen the Indianapolis Colt mascot. That blue horsey is all sorts of trouble near the goal line. Brandon Vogel with us on the way as Hail Varsity continues on Tournament Thursday.
Where's the perfect place to go for lunch every day?
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
Where can you watch all of your favorite college and professional sports all season long?
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
Who's got family-friendly entertainment all throughout the week, including trivia, music bingo, and live music every Friday?
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
Hurrdat Sports Bar in La Vista is the spot for lunch, date night, corporate events, or even a late-night cocktail. A one-of-a-kind spot for sports fans and more. Behind Cabela's in La Vista.
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. You want rock-solid results. That's why men insist on Limitless Male. Whether it's low testosterone causing your symptoms or something else, Limitless Male will find the root cause and recommend a treatment plan that works. Do you have low energy, muscle loss, belly fat, brain fog, low libido, hair loss? Find out why. See the experts in men's health. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmale.com. Insurance accepted.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
My new exercise bike. More like my $1,500 coat rack.
I got a guitar. Never even learned Smoke on the Water.
At Babbel, we get it. Learning something new is hard, especially a new language.
I've forgotten all my high school French.
My Spanish starts at hola and ends at adios.
Make it easy on yourself. Get Babbel, the language learning app built by 200-plus language experts to teach you real-world conversations for any situation. With research-proven lessons, addictive games, immersive podcasts, and live online classes with real teachers.
Sounds like fun.
It's fun and fast. Babbel's bite-sized lessons take 10 minutes a day. You can start having real conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
3 weeks? Hola, Espanol.
Ready to learn a new language? It starts here. Now try Babbel free when you text radio to 64,000. To try Babbel free, text radio to 64,000. Text radio to 64,000.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-709-7022. 800. And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you, Hail Varsity Roadshow here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, just off 204th Avenue in Gretna, Oregon, South Carolina, front and center. The Fighting Danas up by 9. Second round showdown potentially with Creighton coming up on Saturday. I've been able to secure some seats for Saturday at CHI, so I'm pretty jacked about that.
Bring me with you?
I am not. I'm going with Uncle Nate. Brandon Vogel has been to Final Fours before, and I think he had the velvet rope treatment. Brandon Vogel from Counter Read, counterread.com. Vogues, what Final Four did you go to, man?
I'm forgetting the year, early 2000s. It was in San Antonio, in the Alamo Dome. And as high up as we were, it was probably the opposite of the velvet rope treatment. So, but still cool to be there. And yeah, that's the only one I've been to this point.
We're losing you again, Schmitty. You got a yank
Here's
on
Cinderella.
The cord. There you go.
Okay, we got it back. There we
Yes.
go. Thank you. So, Cinderella. Who's your all-time Cinderella team? We kind of laid out Florida Gulf Coast. I said Loyola Marymount was one of mine. NC State with Jimmy V in '83.
VCU under Shaka Smart.
Shaka, and then
George Mason.
Larenega's George Mason squad. That was a wild year with, I think it was 07 with Larenega and company before he went to Miami. But how about you, Vogues? You love college hoops.
I mean, Florida Gulf Coast is a good pick for just sheer fun. Like how they did that was a lot different than I think you see with modern Cinderellas, particularly in today's game. I don't remember the year again, but Steph Curry's sophomore year at Davidson, that one ranks way up there for me. He was a sophomore in college, but he looked like a sophomore in high school, and it was just like, well, look what this dude can do. Like, he just shoots lights out. I think he had 30 points in the second half. Their first half game, they were down 17 to get into the Elite Eight and came back from that. And, at that point, it was just – it kind of felt stereotypically Cinderella and like, oh, they got a great player, and he's lifting all boats. At that point, we had no idea that Steph Curry would go on to become, one of the 20 best players in the NBA all time, probably.
Steph Curry.
So that's that one sticks out to me.
Brandon Vogel's with us here from Counter Read. It's Hail Varsity Radio. And Vogels, whenever you look at this Nebraska team, does this Nebraska team have potential? Should it go on a run? That's a big if, I know, but to go down in the sports consciousness, if you will, the consciousness of America when you think back on those special tournament teams, the ones that were fun to watch. Because if I remember correctly, was Davidson a 12 seed? Does that sound right to you?
I think so.
Like they're not completely underseeded. Nebraska's a slightly higher seed, but you look at the way Nebraska plays, I think Nebraska's got a potential to be a team that could be remembered for a while with guys like Casey, with the way this team shoots the three-point ball, Rink Mast. I mean, a lot of potential candidates that I think this team could maybe be remembered for a bit should they go on a run.
Yeah, I think Tominaga, if he has a 3 or 4 game stretch like Curry did, that would certainly help that. As a power conference team, though maybe this is a little bit different as, having the dubious distinction of being the only power conference team not to have won a game in this tournament. Maybe that helps a little bit. Ken Pom has Nebraska at 25. They're the highest rated in those rankings of the 8 seeds, and 25 what equates to about a 6 seed if you just went by that specifically. So I mean, they lack some of the traditional Cinderella elements, which I think is good. It tells you that Nebraska has kind of earned the spot that it's at, and it plays a little bit differently. It can be well-rounded. We've all seen, what Tominaga is like when he's truly in the zone. But Nebraska can win games other ways too, and that's a mark of a team that's a little more solid. 6, 7, 8 seed feels about right.
Brandon Vogel's with us on Hail Varsity Radio. Outside of Casey tomorrow, Who needs to have the biggest impact on this game?
Well, I think A&M's going to throw all resources they have at Casey. So I think there's a couple of pieces to that. When you look at how well A&M rebounds, particularly offensively, Josiah Alex got to be ready to go. Nebraska needs to stay out of foul trouble. But then beyond that, when the Huskers have the ball, offensively, if A&M's going to try and take away Casey's shot to the degree that anyone can, it becomes a huge shooting day for guys like Wilcher, Turner, Mast, Lawrence. Like it would be a bad day to have 2 or 3 of those guys just be off. Like I think that's really going to be the onus. Like working on this for tomorrow's newsletter at counterread.com, but I don't love this matchup for Nebraska, to be quite honest. It's a tough one in a number of ways, I think. That said, they've held pretty steady as a 1.5 point favorite, and we'll see where things go from there.
It's Brandon Vogel with us here. And Brandon, I'm going to take it back just 1 week here and compare it to Husker basketball. We had Matt Rule tweeting out the video, "So God Made a Farmer." Obviously, that video has made the rounds. We've talked about it plenty. With this Husker basketball team, who is the farmer on the Husker basketball team, if you get what I'm asking there? And what does Nebraska need from that person tomorrow?
Yeah, it might be Alec is the first person who comes to mind. Mast might be second, but Mast is so involved in really everything Nebraska does and can serve multiple roles. Alec is kind of that classic guy who just like he's going to get by on his work level and his effort, and athletic guy, physical guy. It's really about the work for him. So that's what kind of sends me back to the classic farmer archetype, I guess. And part of the reason I don't love this matchup for Nebraska is just the Huskers. We've seen them be able to pour points on people when they're really playing well, and they have a diverse offense that can adjust and hurt teams in multiple ways. The issue is like statistically, their best foot forward is still how well they've defended shooting teams. Well, A&M doesn't shoot well anyway. Like they initiate their offense by basically throwing the ball at the backboard and then getting an offensive rebound. And Nebraska has a lot of defensive rebounds because it's defended pretty well, but it's not a great offensive rebounding team when you look at it in terms of or defensive rebounding team when you look at it in terms of percentage. And I think I'm having a hard time to see how the game doesn't come down to that. Like, are you able to keep A&M off the glass when they have the ball?
Well, the incredible stat from A&M is over 40% of the shots they put up end up being an offensive rebound.
Yes.
Sorry, other missed shots.
Yeah.
Other missed
Yeah,
shots.
they got to chase it down. They know it.
It's the highest since 2015-16, West Virginia. That team lost in the first round. Since then, 2 teams have had it. North Carolina I have it jotted down here somewhere, 2016-17 national title. The last team to do it, 2021 Houston, went to the first Final Four since 1984. Like it's not, if you like basketball skill, it's not a very beautiful type of play, but it can take you pretty far.
Or it can bounce you in the first round. I go back to West Virginia.
Collective hearing from one Elijah Herbel.
It absolutely can. I mean, A&M has some great wins. They played Houston really close. They played Auburn within a point, and I think Auburn is probably of a top 4 seed, maybe the best chance to get to a Final Four from outside, the seeds ahead of it. They've also got some bad losses. Like they lost to Vanderbilt, lost to Arkansas twice, lost to a 500-ish LSU team. So it goes both ways with that. But in terms of size and physicality, A&M makes me nervous just knowing how Nebraska likes to play.
Brandon Vogel with us from Counterread, counterread.com. Hail Varsity on the road here in Gretna, Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Vogues, a couple, 3 minutes here. We got to dive into football. We got to dive into your reaction to Troy Dannon. I know you were really high on the Washington outfit. That's shifted completely, although we all like Judd Fish. But now you got a Midwesterner coming home. And listen, this was swift, and at least I feel okay about it.
Yeah, I feel okay about it too. I mean, I kind of look at it this way. If Nebraska's AD chair had opened, under less surprising circumstances, Dannon, based on his credentials, would have been a realistic candidate if that were the case. And if you had, a little bit of a longer search. I mean, Washington just hired him 6 months ago from Tulane. And yeah, Kalen DeBoer was already there. That said, he went and got Jedd Fish. And we'll see. Like, Washington's had to deal with a ton of upheaval on top of navigating the Pac-12 to Big Ten change. So we'll see if that works out. But Jedd Fish, undeniably, at the end of 2023, was a coach whose trajectory was sharply upward. And he hired Willie Fritz at Tulane. He's really had football success at all three of his stops, including Northern Iowa, which is impressive. Like, I think his football pedigree kind of leads the way here, which isn't an athletic director's sole job, of course, but it's a big share of it, which we all know.
And I mean, this seems to be a guy that was recommended or Rule knew about, or both. And then there's history with Fred Hoiberg, your two coaches of many that you really want input from. They're pleased with the addition.
Yeah, they are. I mean, like I said, if Nebraska, if the circumstances were just a little bit different, like this wouldn't be a surprising hire at all. And when you throw in his experience in leadership positions on those committees in the NCAA, the various committees that he's been on, it adds up. So the timeline surprised me. It definitely did. But if you think you found your guy, then why wait around? I kind of wrote about this today. Like, we'll have time later to talk about the time frame, et cetera, and he'll be judged on his results ultimately. But it does kind of clear the runway to just enjoy these two Nebraska basketball games tomorrow. Enjoy the start of spring football, enjoy wrestling, competing in the NCAA championships this week. And that feels good compared to, I think, where we were all at a week ago.
It's Brandon Vogel from Counterread, counterread.com. Vogues, can I get 2 minutes of overtime?
Sure.
All right. Vogues continues with us.
Your home for Kansas City Chiefs football, Lincoln Salt Dogs baseball, and local high school sports. Local and regional coverage can be heard right here on KFOR, FM 101.5, 1240 AM, and KFORnow.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Hey, Outdoor Nation, the fish are chirping and the birds are biting, and that means it's springtime here in Nebraska's great outdoors.
And we're here to help get you outdoors with the experts from the Nebraska Game and Parks every Saturday morning at 9:45 on KFOR.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds, which could be life-changing. I mean, you could put that money towards that zero-turn lawnmower you've always wanted. And after using its edge-shaping technology to meticulously sculpt the face of the Mona Lisa into your grass, you'll become the undisputed king of Saturday morning lawn care, leaving your neighbor and sworn enemy Gary to question his place in the delicate neighborhood ecosystem. And it's all because you could save money switching at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
I've always gotten tons of UTIs. Cranberry products never worked for me, and I was desperate for a way to be proactive. I'm Jenna Ryan, CEO and founder of Eucora. We've worked with doctors to develop effective urinary tract health products. Eucora is helping over 100,000 women stay healthy. Ready to join them? Get 30% off at eucora.com/radio. That's UQORA.com/radio.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Planning for spring at Lowe's means big savings on outdoor power equipment. And Lowe's knows nothing feels better than free. Buy one select Ego string trimmer, leaf blower, or mower kit. Get one select 56-volt battery free. That's up to a $299 value. Power through spring with Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 4/3 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Has your child swallowed your medicine, your laundry detergent, your nail polish remover? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you inhaled paint thinner, glue, pesticides? Call the Poison Helpline. Have a question about a dose, a fume, something your kid just drank? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Get the hard truth from someone who's seen it from the inside. Hey, this is Dan Bongino. As a former NYPD police officer, Secret Service agent.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Making it through this first day of the tournament here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, Gretna location, 204th Avenue, where we're at, just off the highway. Get some pizza, get a beer. They have whiskey. As I peer towards the bar, Oregon and South Carolina, the Fighting Danas are rolling and covering right now in those lime green unis.
That's a
shoes to match.
Second wrong pick for Elijah in his bracket.
Yeah.
Schmidt, your bracket remains perfect.
It does.
Wow.
Vogel right now has a thought bubble of not for long. But, Bogues, a thought on what you're excited for next week with spring football, and then tell us what Counter Reed's got rocking here with you and Aaron in the newsletter.
Yeah, it's gonna be an intriguing spring football, I think. Quarterback, we got a slight preview of that, I think, with Dylan Raiola throwing a pro day. It's going to be pretty QB heavy, and it's definitely the biggest question for me going into spring football is when we come out of it in 5 weeks, how do we feel about the level of quarterback play that Nebraska has? And I think that's probably the biggest question. But you know, when Matt Rule spoke this week, he noted that Nebraska's got a ton of guys, and we know, as we've talked about before, their returning experience is high. A ton of guys, none that maybe jump out that are like totally established yet as like, oh yeah, that's just a first team All Big Ten guy, and you're going to count on him to make a bunch of plays. So I think it's going to be a fun, competitive spring. And I'm intrigued by this every year, but I think especially this year by like who are the new names that pop up. Not necessarily guys that just got to campus, but maybe redshirt players. Being this early in a coach's tenure, second spring, I think adds to that. So, you know, you've had your strength and conditioning program in place for a while, and let's see the early gains from that. So. It's going to be intriguing.
Vogel, do you have a score prediction for us for tomorrow night?
I think it'll be tight. Don't quote me on the score, but I think I would probably take A&M 70-67, somewhere in that range. I think that's the most likely outcome. That said, in any one game, you can.
Brandon Vogel at Brandon L. Vogel on Twitter, author with John Cook, Dream Like a Champion.
Apparently soon to follow Trev Alberts to A&M.
Vogues, we got a cottage for you and your own oil well. Vogues, tell us about Counter Reed. How can folks get signed up?
Yeah, that's where you can find me picking against Nebraska all the time. You can read my full thoughts on this game tomorrow, which will do a better job of kind of explaining, I think, where I see things. Was planning to do that for today, and then of course 80 and President News kind of knocked that back a little bit, but. Otherwise, yeah, twice weekly newsletter on Substack from myself and Aaron Sorensen. We'll have all of tournament coverage over from the weekend, start of spring football. Feels like things are really ramping up. So If you want to check that out, you can sign up for free, or if you're ready to jump in right away, you can become a paid subscriber. We'd obviously love that. And yeah, simple pitch is 2 good things a week in your inbox.
And the subscription is absolutely worth it, Vogues. We appreciate you. We'll check in Saturday and check that prediction, okay?
All right. Thanks, guys.
There he is, Brandon Vogel, with us from Counter Read. So we're getting some roll call when it comes to folks in the stream, the Hail Varsity YouTube page. Subscribe and like and watch the show that way. You can hear us, of course, on the Hail Varsity Radio Network. But we know NASCAR Eric is on the road tomorrow morning. Julie checks in. She is heading to Memphis after work from the Chicago Burbs. We love you, Julie. Thanks for tuning in. Crew wanted to correct me. His body is a temple. There's no drinking during the week.
That's not true.
Crew.
You're really going to do your boy like that on air?
I've gone to a bar with you on a weeknight, Crew.
Meanwhile, Elijah, Anonymous says, we beat Duquesne, so we got that going for us, which is nice. I was waiting for the Duquesne dude to pummel the 36-year-old BYU player that was wrestling with him in the paint, which was pretty good.
I'm kind of disappointed.
The refs jumped in.
I'm kind of disappointed in Julie, considering she's from the Chicago Burbs. She hasn't put it out my DePaul sweatshirt yet.
Or maybe
that's
DePaul
just
sucks,
me.
So
yeah,
okay,
I mean,
I know that.
you're it. And when we were driving up here, thinking about, well, Connor's going to go with some DePaul reference for his Cinderella, or we had even
no
money. You had Mark Aguirre, which they were a 1 seed, I think, in 1980. And who was the guy who played for the Clippers? Your point guard?
Point guard.
Probably before.
Oh God.
Is there a Richardson that played for DePaul?
Oh yeah, Quentin Richardson.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but that was what, 20 years ago?
Yeah.
See, it seems
pre Connor Clark.
It seems recent
all the
to me.
Success is pre me.
You know, I'm surprised neither of us put down money on just Connor wearing a DePaul sweatshirt on the first day of the tournament. I'm surprised we didn't put any money on that. That would have been a pretty easy bet.
I feel like it would have been inappropriate to wear it tomorrow, considering what's happening. But you know, I thought it was appropriate for today. I don't got a dog in the fight today, technically. Well, actually, not at all. So might as well rep them while I can.
Well, KG says Schmidt cutting in and out of the audio reminds me of the same move I pull with my wife.
Ex-wife.
Sorry.
Big note.
Sorry.
Big note.
Big difference, KG. Thank you much.
If you pull that move with your wife, she's soon to be your ex-wife. If you pull that one with your ex-wife, it's all fair.
I was getting ready to leave to head to the station, pick up Elijah, and make our way up here to Gretna, Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. And I was like, well, hey, sweetie, where have you been? Oh, I was in line at 10 a.m. at a bar ready to watch Michigan State. I'm like, I love you. That's so good. That's so good. So we are at Ameristar tomorrow in Council Bluffs, 4 to 6 with our friends at Penn Gaming. So make your way across the river and your chance to put some money down on the Big Red if you so choose, or Creighton. Chris Holtman was on WGN News this morning. There you go. Just for you, Connor.
I'll take what I can get.
Yeah. Hey, that's didn't work at Ohio State, but Jeff says Nebraska by 6. We'll have a further lockdown of score predictions tomorrow. Jake Muhleisen, part of the Nebraska broadcast, is going to join us. He'll be here coming up at 5 o'clock as he is in Memphis. And Tiger Shark Diver says Texas T, Black Gold, Beverly Hills Hillbillies reference. Love that. And Moonbot predicting a number when it comes to passing yards. 60-yard passing touchdown in the spring game is what should have said, is what Vogues should have said. So that'll be all good.
Did you see the video?
No, we're losing you again.
Funny,
Yank the
it's
cord.
funny.
There you go.
Whenever the football team goes and does tug of war on the Capitol lawn, it's all fun. But whenever I go do it with my friends following night at the bars,
there's a taser involved.
Jail.
Yeah, there's a taser involved.
Doesn't seem fair.
We'll wind down hour one. Jake Muhleisen, Danny Burke, Burke's Best Bets, Hail Varsity live here at Hurrdat Sports in Gretna.
What moves you? Whether it's running a race or playing with your grandkids, orthopedic specialists at CHI Health are dedicated to helping you keep life moving. We offer the latest surgical and non-surgical treatments, so you have options for painful shoulders, knees, hips, and every joint in between. Don't let joint pain put life on pause. Count on our team of orthopedic specialists to begin your journey back to what moves you today.
Marcus is a connoisseur of anything that's free, so he was happy to read the disclaimer on TurboTax Free Edition.
Roughly 37% of taxpayers qualify. Form 1040 and limited credits only. See how at TurboTax.com. That's me.
File your taxes 100% free with TurboTax Free Edition and get your max refund guaranteed. See if you qualify to file for free at TurboTax.com. See max refund guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
I'm Siniqua Martin Green, and when my mother was diagnosed with cancer, our world changed forever. This experience made me so passionate about spreading awareness of treatment options, including clinical trials. I'm joining Stand Up to Cancer to get information to those who have been diagnosed with cancer and their loved ones. Clinical trials introduce new hope for patients, providing access to cutting-edge new treatments. Talk to your doctor to see if a clinical trial may be the best choice for you or a loved one. To learn more, visit standuptocancer.org/clinical trials today.
Good afternoon from the 1011 newsroom. I'm Cole Miller. Coming up, with March Madness officially underway, we'll have a live report from Memphis and Corvallis ahead of tomorrow's twofer with the Aggies. Plus, a group of high schoolers from here in Lincoln sees their satellite launched into space. And we'll have the latest on the fallout from the legislature and that senator's comments on the floor. What's happening now? These stories and more tonight.
KFOR and Legacy Retirement Communities are now taking nominations for the Jerry Joyce Living Legacy Award to honor compassionate, caring, unsung heroes in our area who have never received recognition. The selected individuals will receive up to $2,500 to donate to the nonprofits of their choice. Nominations should be 500 words or less and submitted at KFOR.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
One final time this hour, Hail Varsity, powered by Cornhead Lager. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, Connor Clark. Find us on Twitter at Schmidt_radio, at Herbal Essence. At 27, we're here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill in Gretna. Get here for all your tournament fun. Elijah just destroyed a plate of fries. Get the bang bang sauce. He forgot that. I advise you not to. The fries were good on their own.
No, the thing is if you're already eating deep fried foods,
why not?
Do I need to get this extra calories from the dipping
Yes, you
sauce
do.
in
You've
there?
already jumped into the pool.
I agree with Schmidt.
You've already jumped into the pool. Pizza is glorious here. Beer is cold.
The wings are fantastic.
Yep, it's all good. Justin emailed, and Justin had a previous email about all the change at Nebraska with Trev and, of course, Denon and just some of the upheaval. But Justin emailed this morning, hey, I appreciate the read from the earlier show. Love the work you and Elijah do, Connor as well. In true Husker fashion, this Justin is saying, I woke up today with hope. I'm ready to be heard again by my beloved Huskers. Take care, Justin. Justin, it's all good. And there is so much hope. We'll talk with Jake Muhleisen about that hope in 24 hours, 25 hours as Nebraska and A&M get going in search of history. But you're going to dust yourself off in true farmer fashion and give another go. And I'm interested to see Nebraska handle the moment. And we'll get more into that as well. But it is, can they go have fun with it? Are they going to be tight? I like what our dear friend Bo Reed said to us on Monday. You got a guy like Bryce Williams that kind of takes some of that stress away early against Indiana in the Big Ten tournament. Keesey is he has responded, fellas. He had a tough game against Illinois, 4-13, just 1-3. But even if he's, air quote, not as efficient, he does have a great tendency to hit big shots and get the energy train going. And there's going to be several thousand in Memphis wearing red. There's already several thousand there wearing barbecue sauce, I think.
I will say,
question
I just want to point out, if tomorrow, I think the most pivotal part of the start of the game is if Nebraska does hit their first three like they did against Indiana in the Big Ten tournament, that could go a long way. I know it's only one bucket, but the momentum that can translate into the rest of the team. Okay, you saw it go through the hoop. Everybody relax, settle in. We're just playing another basketball game. I think that's going to go a long way. It's, kind of cliche as that sounds. I think it's pretty true with this group.
Well, it's the senior leadership there. Or I guess maybe not seniors because you got guys that can come back, but guys that have played a lot of college basketball on this team. A lot of times in the first round, the round of 64 of an NCAA tournament, it's about surviving. Because the teams are so juiced up. They're so amped up to be there. With this Nebraska team, you're at a place you haven't been to in 10 years, the first round of the NCAA tournament. Can you keep those emotions in check whenever things don't go your way, which you can almost guarantee in the tournament? You're playing so many good teams. Things aren't going to go your way all the time. Can you reel it in? Can you survive? Sometimes that's all it is in the first round. It's less about winning and more about surviving and just getting to the round of 32. Can Nebraska go out there, weather the storm, and survive tomorrow? Because there will be storms tomorrow.
Jake Muhleisen up next, part of the Husker broadcast team from Memphis. Hail Varsity continues, powered by Cornhead Lager.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.
Ask Forsyth Insurance Agency if Auto Owners makes sense for you. Go to forsythins.com.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
In times of fear, World Vision is there for the most vulnerable. For the last 70 years, we've been standing with kids and families through natural disasters, war, and disease, delivering life-saving aid and helping rebuild lives. And with every act of courage, faith, and love, we do more than just stop the spread of fear. We replace it with hope. Learn more at worldvision.org.
Celebrating 100 years of serving East Central Nebraska. This is FM 101.5, 1240 AM KFOR, Lincoln.
from ABC News. I'm Daria Albinger. The search is over for a pair of prison escapees in Idaho. One of them, a white supremacist gang member.
Boise Police Chief Ron Weiniger making the announcement.
Skylar Mead and Nicholas Umfenauer are in custody.
The capture happening southeast of Boise near Twin Falls, Idaho. Both men under arrest.
There was a short vehicle pursuit, and both suspects were taken into custody separately.
Investigators are revealing the two men may be connected to two murders while they were out on the run. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Donald Trump is facing a deadline of just days from now to come up with the bond to appeal his nearly $500 million New York civil fraud judgment. The state's attorney general may be ready to seize the former president's golf club and private estate in Westchester County if he can.
She could take some of the revenue from the golf course that it generates and steer it towards state coffers to help pay off the judgment should Trump lose his appeal. And these are steps that she's going to be doing as soon as Monday if Trump fails to secure the bond.
ABC's Aaron Katursky. An Alabama woman who lied about being kidnapped was ordered to pay nearly $18,000 in restitution and was sentenced to probation. Carly Russell told authorities she'd been abducted after going missing for 2 days and then admitted she made the whole thing up. The Justice Department's filed an antitrust lawsuit against Apple. It alleges the company uses its monopoly on smartphones, deliberately slowing or limiting functionality on third-party features. Attorney General Merrick Garland.
Set out in our complaint, Apple has maintained its power, not because of its superiority, because of its unlawful exclusionary behavior.
Apple says it will fight the lawsuit. Stocks continue to push into record territory. The Dow, the NASDAQ, and the S&P all closed at all-time highs. You're listening to ABC News.
Planning for spring at Lowe's means big savings on outdoor power equipment. And Lowe's knows nothing feels better than free. Buy one select Ego string trimmer, leaf blower, or mower kit. Get one select 56-volt battery free. That's up to a $299 value. Power through spring with Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 4/3 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
One senator faces a censure motion. Hello, I'm Will Wilson, KFOR News. It's 56 degrees in Lincoln. Hastings State Senator Steve Halloran, who has faced a firestorm of criticism this week after he interjected a senator's name while reading a passage from a book about a violent rape, is now facing a censure filed in a resolution late Wednesday in the Nebraska legislature. If that resolution was advanced, it would have to be by the entire Nebraska legislature and involve a public hearing. During floor debate on Monday night, Senator Halloran read the graphic account of a rape while interjecting the name of Senator Kavanaugh several times during the reading. It came during debate of LB 441, which is centered on obscene material in schools. Two senators have called on Halloran to resign, but he said he wouldn't. An investigation is underway to see if whether or not Senator Halloran violated the workplace harassment policy. An arrest was made on Wednesday morning near 23rd and 8th Street as the Metro Fugitive Task Force tracked down a man wanted on a felony arrest warrant for burglary. Leandris Wallace was walking when task force members saw him and he ran away, eventually being tracked down. Lancaster County Chief Deputy Sheriff Ben Houchin says investigators found 3.3 grams of meth, 3.3 grams of marijuana, 8 amphetamine pills, and 14 other stimulant pills on Wallace's person.
He was also charged with possession of a firearm by a felon, possession of a stolen firearm, 3 counts of possession of a controlled substance, obstructing a peace officer because he ran, and possession of marijuana less than an ounce.
A loaded .45 caliber handgun was also found in his backpack. The gun apparently was stolen from someplace in Lincoln. Lincoln police are putting the warning out there if you have a lot of tint on the front windshield of your vehicle. LPD Public Information Manager Erica Thomas says, as a reminder, state law prohibits front windshield tints except along the top above the AS1 line. To read more about the state and local statutes about windshield tint, go to KFORnow.com. Chance of rain tonight with a low near 38. I'm Will Wilson, KFOR News.
68 teams start. One finishes with the national championship. The men's NCAA basketball tourney. 3 weeks of Cinderella teams, last-second buzzer beaters, bracket-busting upsets, heartache and elation, and we've got it covered. Listen for the latest tournament news, highlights, and analysis with the Morning Hookup and Hail Varsity, afternoons on KFOR.
Keep up with the local news, sports, your favorite talk shows, and pro shows on KFOR wherever you roam. Stream us 24/7 at KFORnow.com or on your mobile. You can download the free iHeart or TuneIn app and stream KFOR on the go.
The following is a paid program. Content is provided by Hurrdat.
The voice of Husker Nation is on the air. This is Hail Varsity Radio. Insight, opinion, expertise, along with the biggest names talking Nebraska sports. Join in with the show at 402-489-1240 or 1-800-825-5865. Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Back into it, it's Hour 2 at Hail Varsity, powered by Cornhead Lager, on the road here for the tournament. Up here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill in Gretna. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel. We say hi to Jake Muhleisen. Standout Husker, standout night. And he is, dare I say it, are you walking in Memphis?
I guess so. I guess you can say that I am. So first time to Memphis, and I'm enjoying it so far.
Okay, rate the barbecue. Overrated, just right, underrated, or not as good as a Muhleisen household?
Oh, it's definitely better than mine, but I had ribs and brisket last night. Phenomenal. And then I'm a big coleslaw guy, so the coleslaw here was really good too, which sounds kind of lame, but it was tasty.
Hey, there's nothing better than good coleslaw because, let's be honest, with a lot of family reunions and all the years going to, I don't know, all parts of Nebraska, some coleslaw destinations are better than others. I'm glad you found your coleslaw.
That's right. And there's some really bad versions of it, but the stuff I've had here so far is pretty dang good.
So I got to ask, Jake, is this Nebraska team, you've been around them, you traveled with them, you get set with KP tomorrow night, 5:50, in search of history. Is this team going in confident or cautious?
I think they're going in confident, Schmidt. I do. And I think, we've talked a lot about this roster with how old this team is, how experienced they are, veteran led. I think they're locked in, and, they came here with a mission, and that Hoiberg and his staff will have a great game plan. But, us Husker fans, we deserve this win so bad. Fred deserves this win, and it would be so much fun. I'm walking around here. I've seen so many Nebraska fans already. So I think the FedEx Forum will have, I'm going to guess, 6,000 Husker fans at least. I feel that way. I've seen so many more Husker fans than anybody else's logo walking around Memphis. So I hope it's a home court field. I think they're locked in.
It's Jake Muhleisen with us here on Hail Varsity Radio, talking Nebraska-Texas A&M. It's getting going tomorrow. And Jake, one of the things that's been talked about plenty this week is Texas A&M's offensive rebounding. It's been the buzzword. They're number one in the country. They are over 40% of their missed shots. They are able to corral the offensive rebound, and they do it in an interesting way because only one guy that plays in their rotation stands taller than 6'7", and he only plays 10 to 15 minutes a game. So what is it that Texas A&M does on the offensive glass that makes it so difficult? And do you know what Nebraska's counter is going to be? Do you have any predictions for how Nebraska is going to try to contain that?
Well, yeah, you look, and I've watched some film on these guys and talking to some of the coaches. It's pretty amazing. As you mentioned, they're not like they're all 7-foot Zach Edey's running around out there getting offensive boards. They're just guys, I'll compare them to like a Dennis Rodman type build where, they're 6'6", 6'7", but they're just high energy guys. Anderson Garcia for them, he has, I think he's averaging about 5 offensive rebounds per game. But what they really do well is when a shot goes up, they are really good at positioning themselves and trying to get inside position. And they do it almost instantly when that shot goes up. So they're down low, and then they try to back you out with the inside position. And then they just don't give up. And I think those guys that are really skilled offensive rebounders, they are able to kind of watch that shot and anticipate where it's going to bounce to. And so it is a huge key in this game, obviously. And if we rebound the ball, I think we have a good chance.
Jake Muhleisen's with us, Hail Varsity Radio. So, Jake, let's spend a minute here on some keys. Obviously, the rebounding part, big for Nebraska. Defensively, Keesay, how do you anticipate him in this moment? We know he's a showman. We know he's extremely talented, but there's been a lot of buzz, and there's more national buzz picking up on him. Do you think he'll be able to settle in and be hot from the start? Or do you think he might try and force some things?
No, I think if you would have asked me that question, 2 months ago, I would have said that he was going to try to force some things. But I feel like the last, month and a half or 2 months of the season, I think Keesay did a much better job of not hunting, but still trying to find his shot, but really taking his time in doing so. I mean, look at that Indiana game. I don't think he really took a shot until about the 10-minute mark in the second half, and then he just went off.
Mm-hmm.
So I think early in this game, I think he's just going to do a lot of cutting and kind of see how the game flows. And if a shot's there, it's there. But what you love to see when Keesay's on the floor is he opens up so many things else, so many other things for his teammates. Even if he's not shooting the ball, he opens up driving opportunities. He opens up post opportunities for Rink Mass and Josiah. So I just hope that he's just in a good flow and not hunting early.
Jake, what do you think is more important for this game for Nebraska? Is it the offensive side of the ball or is it the defensive side?
I think it's defense. I really do. And I say that because obviously the defensive rebounding is huge, but when we're able to get those defensive boards, I think we're really good at turning our defense into offense. And we can get those boards, get out in transition. And when we're at our best, we're trying to probe and take some opportunities in transition. I don't think we shoot a ton in transition, but when they're there, and it puts a lot of pressure on A&M's defense. And I think they are susceptible to some transition points. They play a half-court defense very similar to Nebraska. They force sideline, force baseline, just how Nebraska does, but it's been well documented and talked about too. They give up a ton of threes as far as attempts. So I think if we can push the tempo, flatten the knot a little bit, and then take some opportunities in transition, and then we play inside out, I think defense is the key to this game and turn some defense into offense.
What is a good day for Rink?
Rink's got to have if Rink plays well, he'll have a double-double. And I think that he's got to be opportunistic as well, similar to Keesay. And I think if he can pull out their bigs, I know they're not huge bigs, but they're active.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he can pull those guys out a little bit, knock some threes down, but really it's going to be defensive rebounding. I think even if he doesn't get those defensive boards, if he blocks his guys out, and then you have Bryce Williams and Jawan and Wiltshire, and those guys come in and fly in to get those defensive boards. I think if Rink can have 12 and 8, that'd be a really good night for Rink.
On the other post, Josiah Alec, what type of performance does Nebraska need from him? Because I think from a body standpoint, he matches up well with Anderson Garcia. Obviously, it's tough to stop Garcia's offensive rebounding. Almost no one in the country has been able to do that this year. But what does Nebraska need to get from Josiah Alec?
I think it's similar to Rink, other than knocking down threes. I mean, I know Josiah has shown that he can knock a couple down in the corner, but he's got to make sure that his number one priority is rebounding. And again, if he's not getting those and securing those boards, he just has to clear a path for our guards to come in and then get those defensive boards. But if he can have in that 5 to 8 rebound range, and then if we get, I'll just say 6 to 10 points at a Joe, I think that would be huge tomorrow night.
Jake Muhleisen on the call tomorrow night. Husker Radio Network, Kent Pavelka at Jake Mule. On Twitter is where you follow him. Does Nebraska have the ability to be that Cinderella, that March darling with the rest of the nation jumping on the Big Red bandwagon? People know and love Fred, and I think folks around the Big Ten respect the heck out of this basketball team. But what a showcase for the program Friday night, Jake.
Well, it really is, and I think we definitely have a chance to be America's team. And if I'm going to say when we win on Friday, then I think you go to Sunday's game, more than likely playing number 1 seed Houston. But at that point, then we're playing with house money. And I think we're going to have the chance to play extremely free and loose and zero pressure on Sunday. And obviously Houston's a really good team. But I think we have a chance if and when we get past Friday, I think we have a chance to make some noise on Sunday.
You talk about playing with house money. Not only that, I think Nebraska actually matches up well with Houston with as many threes.
You are
as Houston
jinxing things.
I'm just throwing it out there. Houston loves collapsing. They love being aggressive. And because of that, they give up some threes. If there's any team that can exploit that in the country, it might be Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm not trying to jinx things, Schmidt, but I'm right there with you guys as far as, I know we're all nervous and anxious about Friday's game, but, I do think that if we play our game and my opinion offensively, if we play our game and just shoot it average, we don't have to shoot it 50% from three, but if we shoot our average, which is a little above 35%, and we don't turn the ball over and we get defensive rebounds, we win the game. I really feel that way. And with Nate Lemser on the defensive side and Fred on the offensive side, and then, Howard and Coach Ziegler putting their thoughts in as well, we're going to have a super good game plan. I mean, that's just simple.
Jake,
but then it's just a matter of those guys coming out and executing.
Jake, we've talked plenty about the rebounding, and not only today, but this week. Wade Taylor, though, is a guy that I think can stress Nebraska in a different way. He's a true point guard, assists well, gets to the rim really well, shoots it from three. Maybe not consistently, but he's a streaky shooter from three, and I think he presents a different kind of challenge to Nebraska than maybe they've faced this season. What does Nebraska have to do defensively to keep him in check?
Yeah, they're two guards, specifically Taylor. I mean, those guys, they want to get in the paint. So we have to try to keep those guys, limit their paint touches, keep those guys on the perimeter, force them to shoot from three. I mean, those guys, I think I added it up. Those two guards for A&M have accounted for, I think, 45% of their field goal attempts. I mean, something ridiculous like that. So they're going to shoot. And if we can just challenge those guys and just hope they're not shooting above their average this year. Taylor's shooting 31%. The other guys shooting 27%, but they're averaging 18, 19 a game, and 16 a game. Just have to force them to shoot from the perimeter, keep them out of the paint. Because when they get in the paint, what happens too is help is forced to come their direction. They're able to drop it out to some of their bigs.
Mm-hmm. So how many points would Jake Muhleisen have averaged at Lincoln Southeast and Nebraska had you had the green light that A&M's guards have?
Oh, man. I don't know. I think my arm would get tired how much those guys shoot. Those two guys just come down and cast. And I think Taylor's a little bit Boo-Buie-esque, a little bit bigger and more physical in that regard, and not a good shooter. But he's coming down with the green light on, and so we have to be aware of him early. And what you don't want to have happen is him to knock down his first couple from the perimeter and get some confidence. I think that's going to be key the first 5-10 minutes of the game. Really challenge those two guards and not let them get confidence early so they think that hoop looks a little bigger than what it is.
Are you going to make a trip to Graceland?
Probably not. I thought about it, but downtown Memphis with Gill Street and everything, plenty to do. And I think Kent would get nervous that I wasn't going to return from Graceland or something.
What's KP's mood like? Is he bouncing off the wall? Is he quiet? How's he soaking this in? He's seen a lot of these opportunities, and we've kept track of the heart monitor. I know you have next to him. In all seriousness, though, he's got to be probably as optimistic as he's been, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I know that that Kent's excited. I mean, next year will be year 50 of broadcasting for KP. So I'm just excited that he has this opportunity right now. And I mean, he's been a little quiet. I think he's nervous. I think he's anxious, and quite frankly, so am I. But I know he's really excited, and I think he deserves this win as much as anybody does.
Jake Muhleisen with us, Hail Varsity Radio, at Jake Mule on Twitter. So we've hit the barbecue. We've talked to Elvis. So yeah, basketball's been pretty paramount. Do you expect the Trev sighting?
I don't know. I've heard mixed reports that he's going to be here and he's not going to be here, but I would guess that he probably stays away, just so that way, Matt Rule kind of mentioned it. That way the focus is on the game and the players and not him.
You been annoyed by this at all?
A little bit. I mean, it just, the timing is weird. It's just been a strange, I guess, last 10 days from that regard in Husker Nation. But it's just so fun that we're in this position. It doesn't matter who the heck we're playing. We're in the NCAA tournament. We're an 8 seed, and we've got we're talking Nebraska hoops right now in March, and it is the best time of year, and they have a chance to make a run.
Our dear friend Kevin Suits has confirmed that Trev will not be at the Nebraska A&M game.
Until I see a tweet from Trev congratulating somebody and saying he's not going to be there, then I'll believe it.
We need that congratulatory tweet to Fred after the game Friday.
That's right. That's right.
How would that play down in oil land? Your Final Four is what before we say goodbye?
Well, I have Nebraska winning it all. I have to. I couldn't help myself. I tried to pick different brackets, but I have us going to the Final Four. I have us, Purdue, Arizona, and Illinois in my Final Four.
Ooh, I have Illinois v. Purdue in the championship.
Garbage.
Okay.
Probably is garbage.
Yeah.
Someone will get suspended from Illinois. So
meanwhile,
I couldn't help but pick the Huskers. Why not?
Meanwhile, I committed a sin. I have North Carolina against Creighton in the national championship game.
You're excommunicated.
Oh man,
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
That's okay. We won't hold it against you.
Next time we see you at the old press box, old Jake's going to box you out into the old.
That's right.
Into the tables. Jake, you take care. Enjoy it. Bring one home, and we'll talk again. Thanks for your time.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Good stuff from Jake Muhleisen, Hail Varsity Radio. We're here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill here in Gretna as things settling in. How about old Dana Altman, baby, as Oregon moves on. The 11-seed Ducks over 6-seed South Carolina. Some free throws to put a cherry on top, 37 and change.
In bigger news,
left.
Dayton is screwing up my bracket by losing to Nevada.
I love it.
I think I had Nevada. I think
it.
I'm still perfect for nobody who cares.
One of the dumbasses sitting here at this table had Dayton go into the Sweet 16, so that's rough.
Well, there's still game left.
They're down by 17.
I know, but it's called March Madness for a reason. Just throwing it out there.
We'll dive in and get some comments from Nebraska's new AD in Memphis, Josiah Alec also. As Hail Varsity continues, we're powered by Cornhead Lager.
Where's the perfect place to go for lunch every day?
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
Where can you watch all of your favorite college and professional sports all season long?
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
Who's got family-friendly entertainment all throughout the week, including trivia, music bingo, and live music every Friday?
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
Hurrdat Sports Bar in La Vista is the spot for lunch, date night, corporate events, or even a late-night cocktail. A one-of-a-kind spot for sports fans and more. Behind Cabela's in La Vista.
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
Hey, couch potatoes. Want to slim down without a lot of work? With Limitless Male new weight loss treatment, you lose the weight without special diets or strenuous exercise. Our life-changing semaglutide weight loss peptide is FDA approved. You won't be hungry. Curb your appetite and get back to your fighting weight. Lose as much as 15% body fat over 28 weeks. Say goodbye belly fat. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmale.com.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
My new exercise bike. Yeah, more like my $1,500 coat rack.
I got a guitar. Never even learned Smoke on the Water.
At Babbel, we get it. Learning something new is hard, especially a new language.
I've forgotten all my high school French.
My Spanish starts at hola and ends at adios.
Make it easy on yourself. Get Babbel, the language learning app built by 200-plus language experts to teach you real-world conversations for any situation. With research-proven lessons, addictive games, immersive podcasts, and live online classes with real teachers.
Sounds like fun.
It's fun and fast. Babbel's bite-sized lessons take 10 minutes a day. You can start having real conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
3 weeks? Hola, Espanol.
Ready to learn a new language? It starts here. Now try Babbel free when you text radio to 64,000. To try Babbel free, text radio to 64,000. Text radio to 64,000.
Come see the exciting career opportunities in the world of large ag. Acres, your Nebraska John Deere dealer, is hosting a career fair during our 2024 Ag and Turf Expo. Learn about career opportunities in service, sales, parts, and precision ag, as well as other roles in Acres business support team. Join us at Fauner Park March 21st and 22nd. Go to acres.com/expo24 for details.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Thanks for hanging out. Hail Varsity continues Thursday as the madness underway. Awesome time of year with the NCAA Tournament. No better place to watch than your friends here with Hurrdat's Sports Bar and Grill. We're in Gretna today, 2 locations, also in La Vista, just next to Costco and Embassy Suites. Double dip against A&M tomorrow night. Lunch and dinner, Gretna and La Vista sounds good to me. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, Connor Clark. Reminder to get buckled up. Use your seatbelt. It saves lives and prevents injuries only if properly worn. Make it click. A message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Some more comments from the stream. And folks are, as we were talking with Vogues a little bit ago, about the quarterback question for spring football. I think I'm trying to find it now. And thanks so much to all of you who check in on the stream. But I believe one of the comments, maybe from Moonbot, was about, well, Dylan's just going to go straight to the NFL. He'll experience a spring and then head to the NFL.
Thank God for NCAA regulations that are still in force, such as the fact that you must complete 3 years of college education.
Tiger Shark Diver's the one. Give him proper credit. Dylan's getting drafted instead of going to Nebraska. First freshman exemption. The only dude that could have done that is Adrian Peterson. Even then, I mean, Adrian was a grown dude as a freshman at OU. So Brandon is checked in. He says we need to keep 4 of our 5 dudes out of foul trouble. Is that a concern for you? Not to jump too far ahead, but Nebraska A&M, let's get into it a little bit. We'll hear from Nebraska's new AD and Troy Dannon in just a moment, his time on the floor today at Nebraska's shoot-around. But guys, it's very real, isn't it, with just how the officiating goes, not to whine or preemptive blame, but how are the officials who may be seeing you for the first time going to let you get down and rock and roll defensively? Nebraska's physical, but they're not bad boys Pistons physical, right? So, and it shifted and changed, and it was a factor from a flow and rhythm standpoint against Illinois. You know, we know how much A&M is going to want to drive the basketball. And is there going to be verticality enforced when Nebraska's not necessarily making the first contact? If you throw your body into a power forward, you're going to get the whistle. I mean, that's something to think about. How does it shake out for Nebraska? And subtle little gripes by some of the Nebraska coaching staff, and I'm not blaming them for it. They were right, and we know what Jawan said about it after the Illinois game. Moving forward, just go play your game, start hot offensively, and box out. Do your thing that way.
Well, one thing I want to note here is you need to look around the other tournament games and kind of look at the other refs, because there are national points of emphasis that are given out before the NCAA tournament, really before every season as well with the refs. The Big Ten schools that have played so far, Illinois and Michigan State, both of whom I would
physical
say,
today.
But neither of those teams I would say are as physical as you maybe would expect some Big Ten teams to be, but they both play physical in their own way. Illinois only gave up 8 free throw attempts to Morehead State. Morehead State went 6 of 8 from the line. Michigan State gave up 10 free throw attempts to Mississippi State. Neither of those gaudy numbers, neither numbers that scare you. Obviously, different host site, different refs in Memphis, and every single refereeing crew is going to see things slightly differently. But I think the early results from today would show you that a Big Ten brand of physicality is not being punished, at least so far in the tournament. That could change. That could change with the refs Nebraska has tomorrow. But I did not see refereeing that was a disadvantage towards Big Ten teams to Illinois play a somewhat physical brand of basketball.
I wouldn't be surprised if K-State doesn't get that many calls tomorrow, because you mentioned it, both of you. The trend has been pretty physical today, and I'm fine with that. I think, if you're going to let them play, and you mentioned it earlier, Chris, about everybody's juiced out there. So the energy's a little bit higher than it normally would be. Things are a little bit more out of control, especially at the start. And we all know that K-State will take these highly contested shots. He can make those shots, but sometimes, maybe he actually will get whacked on the arm. Sometimes he won't, but he'll try and sell it that way. I don't think he's going to get very many of those. However, I think that style of officiating will help a guy like a Juwan Gary or Josiah Alex stay in the game, because Nebraska needs both of those guys, and Rick Mass as well, to be physical down low, especially Gary too, because it feels like in some of these big games, he's in 4 fouls with like 13 minutes left, i.e. the Illinois game where you really, really needed him. And especially against an SEC opponent where he formerly played in that league, I think you're going to need to see a lot of number 4 in red and white tomorrow. And that physical brand of basketball, I think, will help him stay in the game.
Connor, I want to ask the question to you, though. Does a more physical style of game tomorrow give Nebraska or Texas A&M an advantage on the glass? We all know the rebounding is going to be a big story tomorrow. Does more physical play benefit Nebraska, or does it benefit Texas A&M with as much as they like to get on the glass?
I mean, I would say Texas A&M, just because of A, the amount they get on the glass, B, the way that Nebraska has struggled on the glass at points this year. They've been better, but I think a more physical brand on the block, especially on the offensive end, will probably help A&M just a tad bit, because they are that physical brand of basketball. They're from the SEC, which has been pretty physical this year. Buzz Williams is their coach. They like to play ugly at times. So I think that goes advantage Aggies.
At times.
But again, that means if you're giving it, like if A&M's giving it to Nebraska, the message in that under 16 timeout should be, okay, give it right back, because clearly they're going to let you play. So give it right back. Match the physicality, match the energy of the other team, and see where it takes you.
It's important to take some of these lessons from the season with you to Memphis. You've survived and really just kind of put the pedal down on Penn State. They play an ugly brand of basketball. They're physical. Rutgers, you split with. They're physical. They play an ugly brand of basketball. They aren't a great shooting team. You learned the hard way on the road. You won at home, and it was the energy that helped push you across the finish line from PBA against Rutgers. I look at A&M in that similar mold where, when you look at Alec Alec can match up and will match up physically against about anybody. The question I have here is Rink, and Rink is very nice with his ability to track the basketball down, take the basketball up the court, and then obviously pick and pop on that three. But he's got to make some of his shots at the rim and then draw them out. I mean, there's got to be a 1-2 punch in the paint that way that allows some drive and kick for Nebraska. And then, I think Rink needs to he has battled and battled and battled, but he can't do it alone. And I think the 1-2 punch of him and Alec can be all right. The word that to me with their big time offensive rebounder for A&M, Garcia's more of a finesse forward, at least is what Coach Smith was telling me. So I don't think the matchup's going to be that awful physically for Nebraska. It's just, is it a one-sided whistle?
Well, I think if it's a physical battle down low between a guy like Anderson Garcia and Rink Mass, I think it's advantage Rink Mass in that case. It's finesse is not the perfect word to use with Anderson Garcia, but it is better than the kind of power forwards. That
he ain't McHale down low.
But he is a little bit more Rodman to him. I mean, he can step out and hit the three, but I think he's only taken something like 16 this year. That's not where his game is built. His game is built cleaning up the offensive glass, putting it back up and in, getting the ball on the real low block in a really good spot and putting it up. He's not the type of guy that's necessarily going to go and cross you up and get to the rim like a true finesse power forward. He's got a little Rodman to him. If he gets the ball down low, he's probably going to put it home. If you don't get a body on him and push him out of the paint, he's going to affect the rebounding down low. Rodman, I think, is a decent comparison for Anderson Garcia. Whereas you look at a guy in Josiah Alec, Rodman's not the best comparison for him. We've been trying to
the
find
energy and the effort is, but as far as the
like Anderson Garcia is much more Rodman than Josiah Alec is in how he plays the game. But I don't think Nebraska doesn't have a physical counter they can go to. Maybe it's not Alec. I think Mast has a real advantage there. If they're trying to check Mast in the post defensively with Anderson Garcia and Mast gets to go to work against him, I think that's a big advantage for Nebraska. That's something I'm watching for tomorrow. Not to dive too deep into our game preview, still 24 hours out here, but I'd look to see Rink Mast getting the ball in that high post and looking to back his way down into the paint because as we kind of laid out with Jake, Texas A&M has one guy that stands taller than 6'7". He only plays about 5-10 minutes a game. Sometimes he gets up towards that 15 range. Like, Texas A&M's going to roll out there. Their two posts are both 6'7", and they have three essentially guard types that they put around them. They're not the most physically imposing team, but they do still play a somewhat physical brand of basketball, which is a weird dichotomy and not something Nebraska's really seen this year in the Big Ten.
Well, this helps answer Todd's email. A&M says Todd should have a record day rebounding since Tominaga and Hoiberg are both 5'2". They're over 6. All right, Todd, but
at least listed.
Yeah, at least they're listed. Let's hear from Josiah Alec as he was asked about the moment tomorrow, today at Nebraska's shoot-around in Memphis.
I'm really just happy for the community, just for every Nebraska fan out there, because I know for them they've been working and supporting this team for decades now, just trying to get that first tournament win and build on top of that. And so for us to be back in this position, I know a lot of people have just been really proud of us, but we're not here just to be here. We're here to win a game, and that's been our focus since the beginning. So just focus on that.
I love how he answers that question because they've wanted to see Nebraska win a game and then build off of that, which is a very healthy way to approach the NCAA tournament. That, hey, your entire focus is on Friday. It's not on Sunday. It's not on making a run. Your focus is on the one game ahead of you, but you still have that in the back of your mind that our goal here is not to win one game. Our goal here is to stack results on top of that, but to remain focused on one. Very good mindset to have going into an NCAA tournament situation.
Nope, it's big time, and just how do you handle the moment? Good thoughts from Jake Muhleisen. If you missed that interview or just caught part of it, you're always welcome to check out the Hail Varsity podcast. Spotify, iTunes, Google Play is where you can find and download each show, the whole show, or just the segments you want to hear. Catch us on the Hail Varsity YouTube channel. Like and subscribe there. Can rewind or catch us live on different social media platforms as well. Hail Varsity Radio, Twitter at H Varsity Radio, KFOR, Facebook, and Twitter, and our friends at AM 590, Omaha's ESPN. We're here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill in Gretna, just off 204th Avenue. Come on in, get a pizza, get some beer, watch the nightcap. Danny Burke on the way.
Your home for Kansas City Chiefs football, Lincoln Salt Dogs baseball, and local high school sports. Local and regional coverage can be heard right here on KFOR, FM 101.5, 1240 AM, and KFORnow.com.
Are you tired of slow internet? Are data caps and throttling making it impossible to stream your favorite shows and movies? If so, it's time to switch to a better internet provider. With Nextlink Internet, you can get the speed you need at a price you can afford. No data caps, no throttling, just super fast speeds up to 500 megabits over wireless and up to 2 gigabits over fiber. Plus, we're so sure that you'll love Nextlink Internet that we back our services with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Give us a call at 402-656-6669 or visit us online at nextlinkinternet.com.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? Hi, this is Dr. K with Lincoln Weight Loss, and I know the secret. Our unique weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd like to lose unhealthy fat without counting points or calories, no exercising, no prepackaged meals, no drugs, no surgery, and no injections with risk of serious side effects, call 402-520-8170.
Hey, it's Schmidt here. If you saw me at state basketball or the Big Ten tournament pregame shows, you know I'm a little bit slimmer. How'd I lose the weight? Simple. Lincoln Weight Loss. Many of us struggle to get rid of those extra pounds. I know I did. Until I found Lincoln Weight Loss.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two. For your free consultation, call 402-520-8170 or online at lincolnweightloss.com. That's lincolnweightloss.com.
Hey, it's Phil Hooks and Will Wilson from the Morning Hookup. Coming up on a Friday on the Morning Hookup.
And now,
back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Back in on a Thursday edition, it's Hail Varsity Radio. I'll bring us back.
We're talking to Gary and Gene, loving listeners, wonderful people.
They did fall in the Husker baseball squad.
Yeah, they've been doing the old tour. They were down, as they were telling us, they were in Charleston. Check that out. They were down in Phoenix.
So they got to see plenty of come from behind performances. Yes, Connor?
Remember when you said Dayton was down 17?
Yeah, I was gonna say I was just gonna go there talking come from behind.
I don't remember baseball. What I picked.
Dayton is up by 1, 59-58.
Yeah, dun dun dun.
You're Dayton to the Sweet 16s alive.
Not too happy about that.
Hey, Connor, you said it yourself. It's madness this time of year.
I did.
It's madness.
And I'm currently experiencing said madness.
There's still 2 minutes left.
Connor, we'll put a wager in for you tomorrow at Ameristar. All right, we'll make up for it.
Lovely.
It'll be all right. Just Venmo us, okay? And we'll forget to put the bet in. Best bets time. Danny Burke with us, Pride of Chicago, and at Danny Burke 5 is where you find Danny. BurksBeat.com. Log on. Check out his info, his insight, and yes, his podcast. Danny, are you hunkered down at a sports book near Chicago? Where are you, and how has your day been?
The day hasn't been too bad. I am not hunkered down at the sports book today, just with some buddies. Got the multitude of TVs set up, so always prepared in that sense. I think this weekend we'll be going more to a public bar setting to where it's sure to get a little bit more rowdy and has the sports book feel of, one side yelling, the other side yelling, but with a lot cheaper drinks. So that may be the better option at the end of the day. But in terms of today, I didn't really have any official plays I gave out for Thursday. I bet a little bit with some of these games on the side, like Michigan State. I just took the money line. They came through. Let's see. Morehead State, I took the points with. Obviously, they didn't cover, but I also had Illinois as a survivor pick. So at least that was pretty beneficial. I know Connor doesn't like the result of what's happening with Dayton and Nevada. I bet a little bit on Dayton. Let's see who else I'd take. I took Oregon as well. And you probably saw me tweeting about this BYU game. I didn't bet on BYU, but I did have them as a survivor play, and that was some of the worst basketball I've seen. I can't even believe it got to being that close. But, yeah, that was pretty infuriating. All things considered, though, not too shabby of a day. How about yourself, though, guys? You've been enjoying it?
I am perfect so far.
It's not bad for us. My bracket will be a lot better if Dayton pulls it off. They're up by 1 with 30 seconds left. They're on a 22-4 run to close this one, which is great. But, Danny, I want to ask you, what is the drink of choice for March Madness opening weekend?
Ooh, that's a good question. Honestly, I'd probably say, I'm a pretty simple guy when it comes to just getting into it with sports, and when you're involving it with alcohol, which is more often than not at this point in our lives. So I'm just using them with the Miller Lite, right? Just the light beers, getting there. And then depending on how the results go from the whole slate of day games, that really influences what kind of drinks you're going to have at the bar later that night, right? So if you're having a good night, probably looking to, you'll throw in some shots here and there, maybe get a little wild depending on what they are, but probably get something in the vodka variety. And then if it's a losing type of effort, maybe you go a little bit darker with the liquor, some whiskey, some rum, something in that regard. But always starting out with the light beers and easing it in that direction.
So what I'm hearing, Danny, is no sports book at Wrigley Field tonight for you.
No, not tonight. It's an amazing setup. Don't get me wrong, but I know I told you guys this before. I mean, you spend so much time in there in the past, and it's almost like, you almost just feel like, not that you're in a work environment per se, but it's just like I'd rather be in a more comfortable spot where you're not completely going against the crowd. And it's so much harder to get drinks, and the drinks are so much more expensive. So I'm fine with going to a bar with multiple TVs or a friend's house for these weekday games where, you can just lounge on the couch and not feel as judged by wearing sweatpants and other, ridiculous clothing, I suppose.
We're going to get Danny Burke down to the bar for a slinky on his triumphant return and make another photo op on the wall of fame.
Why stop at one slinky? We're gonna get Danny a pitcher, slinky pitcher.
Oh my God, it's Thursday.
Like the one I had after the Michigan game, which was much necessary. See, I'm opposite of Danny. I go whiskey to celebrate in those disgusting vodka Red Bulls whenever I'm feeling sad. Need to get myself back up, So we're a little opposite there, but I see where he's coming from.
So Danny, looking forward to tomorrow. Nebraska's been pretty steady at -1.5 over A&M. What do you make of that? What are you taking?
Man, I think you guys can probably know me well enough by now to realize that it's not going to be a healthy thing to back Nebraska from a betting standpoint in this game. I do have them advancing in my bracket, but I'm not going to bet them. I'm just going to sit back and hope and pray for a miracle out of the Huskers. But it shouldn't take a miracle, right? Like from the objective standpoint, Nebraska should be the right side in this game. They're so much of a better offense than A&M is. I mean, they're terrible from three-point are the Aggies, shooting under 29% and 344th in effective field goal percentage. Nebraska 61st, and they're just so bad overall offensively. You really can't stress that enough. Nebraska just needs to play somewhat of an above-average game or even average offensively, and that should be enough to take care of Texas A&M. But we all know what's been discussed. The difference is what kind of damage can Nebraska limit on the board. The Aggies can kill them with the second chance opportunities, with the defensive rebounds, all of those missed shots from how bad Texas A&M is offensively. You got to make sure you get your butt into somebody and box out, because that is where you can keep or allow the Aggies to stay into this game. So if Nebraska can just make sure they can grab those boards, they shouldn't have a problem with Texas A&M. But we know Nebraska has faltered in situations like this before where they have the advantage and can't do the little things right. So you just got to hold on, hope and pray that they can, and at least just get this first tournament dub for all of us Husker faithful.
Well, Danny, if you're not going to be betting Nebraska tomorrow, what are you betting tomorrow night? Schmidt and I have been throwing around. We're trying to throw together a Hail Varsity Radio Friday night parlay. What do you like on the Friday night? I know you're not a big parlay guy, but you got to help us with our parlay.
All right, I'll give you a couple here. So I'm actually kind of anti-Big Ten this tournament, aside from Nebraska in the first round and then Michigan State, like I talked about earlier. I like Florida Atlantic a lot against Northwestern. I think they have a really good shot. And sorry, Connor, just saw that Dayton did hang on, so it looks like Nevada did fall victim. So great comeback by the Flyers. Going to FAU, though, I took them on the money line at the beginning of the week, minus $1.35. Florida Atlantic 23rd in adjusted offensive efficiency. They're a really strong rebounding team, too, on the offensive glass, can get themselves a lot of second chance opportunities. Northwestern, their benefit is you have a guy in Boo Buie, right? But how far can he take you when this team has 90% of their offense production coming from their starting five? They get no bench production, and they need to rely so much on Boo Buie that if FAU can scheme well enough defensively, Northwestern will have no other option. They're not a good rebounding team, especially because they still may be a little bit unhealthy with their bigs. So I like FAU to come out outright against Northwestern. That's probably my favorite of about 4 plays for Friday's slate.
Daddy, we are at Ameristar tomorrow across the river in Council Bluffs. We are going to make that the lock as we make our way into Council Bluffs and Ameristar. Excited to be there and doing a road show right up until tip-off with Nebraska and A&M. I love Florida Atlantic and their how do I say this? Well, their poise. They went to the Final Four last year. Northwestern back in the tournament. Hang tight for us. We got to come back to you on the other side for one more pick. All right.
You got it. Sounds good, fellas.
All right. Danny Burke continues with us. We're here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet. O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt, yeah!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure they'll get you your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson Hewitt, yeah!
Switch to Jackson Hewitt and we'll beat what you paid last year, even if you filed online.
Yeah!
Ain't nothing to it. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and pay less for tax prep, guaranteed. Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
This is Monster Jam. Witness big air, two-wheel skills, backflips, and all-out racing. It's the only place to see the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks, like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more. It's big-time fun for the whole family. Monster Jam, as big as it gets. Coming to Pinnacle Bank Arena March 29th and 30th. Brought to you by Big 80 Tires, Great Clips, and the original Super Glue.
So you just used bug spray in your home. Now what? Well, between the waiting and waiting for things to dry up and keeping your family away from the mess, it hits you. You could have used Zevo. Unlike other bug sprays that stick around, Zevo goes from kill to clean in seconds. Plus, it's safe for use around people and pets when used as directed. Zevo, people-friendly, bug-deadly.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-345-2789. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-345-2789. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-345-2789. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember,
And now,
back to Hail Varsity Radio.
One final time, Roadshow Thursday for the Madness. Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill in Gretna. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, Connor Clark. Danny Burke with us, Pride of Chicago. Burke's Best Bets is carrying over for a little overtime. Burke'sBeat.com, where you log on, find his podcast as well. Danny, Final Four. And who do you have futures-wise to win the whole bleeping thing here as we wind it down?
So I am someone who varies the results of my bracket, but I'll give you the Final Four that I had for my first one made that I usually put a little bit more leverage on. So I had Kentucky coming out of the South region. I know this is more of a public play here, but this Kentucky team can absolutely light it up from deep. Prolific offense. The worry is what kind of effort and sustainability can you have on the defensive side, but I believe the South is the weakest region, so I think they have a viable path I'm going to get backlash for saying this on these airways, but I've got Creighton coming out of the Midwest, fellas. I've got Creighton and Kentucky facing off on that side of the Final Four. And the other side, I've got UConn and I've got Arizona. In another bracket, I do have Auburn coming out just to be a little contrarian and not be what everybody else is essentially on. And then so I had UConn and Creighton. And because I, again, want to be a little bit contrarian, I do have Creighton winning the whole thing in that bracket specifically. All right. So it's not painted over all the brackets. So I'm sorry, Nebraska fans. It's not that I love Creighton. We're trying to be objective here and, try to make a little money along the way. But yeah, that's what I had for my bracket. And a little bit longer shots. I did St. Mary's to reach the Final Four at 14-1. Kentucky, I took them a while back, but I think like 7-1 is the price you can get them. I wrote up about that a little bit. And then Creighton was about 5-1 to reach it too. If Creighton gets past, presumably Tennessee, it's wide open in my mind. I mean, Purdue is Purdue. We know what usually happens with them. So I think it's a great path for either Creighton or Tennessee, both of whom I have winning the championship in different brackets, depending on who wins that.
Really? I have Tennessee.
There we go.
I have Creighton losing a
like
national championship game. So
I love it, man. I didn't even ask.
Again.
Can I ask, Danny, is it worth taking a flyer on Nebraska to the Final Four?
Yeah, what are the odds?
Oh, man, geez. I actually don't even know those odds.
No. So the answer is no. It's not worth taking a flyer.
If they beat Texas A&M, I kind of don't hate the idea of taking the points with them against Houston. You got to think that's somewhere in the double digits, and Houston may be a little overrated, so that's why I wouldn't hate that. I'll go that far.
Danny Burke with us, burksbeat.com, at Danny Burke 5 on Twitter, and catch his work, his write-ups, his podcast. Pride of Chicago, be good, enjoy the madness. We'll check in next week. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Enjoy the games and throw 100 on red for me, fellas.
All right, there we go. And he didn't even say I'll Venmo you. So we're going to take Connor's money and apply it to Danny. But plenty of basketball tonight. We'll be locked in tomorrow. Road Show Friday, as we're at the Ameristar Sportsbook and Casino in Council Bluffs. So if you're in the Omaha area, want to get a breather, we invite you out to see us there. Make sure you frequent and enjoy your Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill locations. La Vista, we're in Gretna today. Great food, drinks, and of course, walls of TV for you. Get a pizza ordered to go or come on in. Get that bang bang sauce, even though Elijah said no to it for his French fries. Connor, thanks for hanging out back at the studio. Elijah, good stuff. Chris Schmidt back at you tomorrow from Ameristar at 4 with Hail Varsity.